Good morning. You may proceed. Case is on record.
I proceed. Today is 12 September 2025 in the Magistrate's Court sitting at JP Karwahi Street in the matter between Emmanuel Mulunga and 14 others. Case number 854 of 2025. Before court is accused number 2, who is the applicant in this bail application, Mr. Cornelius Petrus Willemse. Presiding officer, Ms. Muharukua for the state, Medelungwe. For the accused, Mr. Boris Isaacs, assisted by Mr. Deku and Ms. Ipinge. Matter before this court for the continuation of the bail application, and we are ready to proceed.
Yes.
Please, Your Worship, I confirm my appearance on behalf of the applicant in this matter. I'm also assisted by Mr. Deku and Ms. Ipinge. We are ready to proceed.
You may proceed.
Your Worship. Now, Mr. Willemse, yesterday before we adjourned, I was busy asking you with regard to something in the credit list. Do you recall that?
Correct.
Do you have your bundle? By that I'm referring to the first bundle.
I have the worship.
Okay, I just want you to proceed to page 157 where we had stopped at.
I'm there, Your Worship.
Okay, yes, just before we adjourn, I was asking you a question that relates to clause 17.3.
Yes, Your Worship.
Okay, now, I just want
Bundle
to...
1 or bundle 2?
Bundle 1, Your Worship.
You may proceed.
Yes, I just want to ask you, or let me put it in context. Perhaps you had forgotten what I asked you. 17.3 actually says, customer shall be blocked for further delivery when credit limit is exceeded or customer is overdue. You see that?
I see.
At some point during your evidence in chief, you had mentioned a client of NAMCOR, which was Husab Mine. You recall that?
Correct, Your Worship.
Now, was there ever a time when Husab Mine had firstly exceeded their credit limit and they were blocked from further receiving fuel from NAMCOR?
Your Worship, there was a time that WUSAP, and I think it's quite regular, that WUSAP sometimes exceed their credit limits. I cannot recall a time that we blocked the account, since this is one of the key customers of NAMCOR. So therefore, I cannot recall the credit committee or the executives, including the MD, has blocked the account. Okay,
so we have understood now in this case that at least 2 clients of NAMCOR was Enacon, Namibia, PTUR Limited, and Erongo Petroleum. You know that?
That's correct, Your Worship.
And we have also established that initially, let me start with Enacon Namibia PTY Ltd. Their credit limit was 15.5 million. You recall that?
Yes, sir, I recall that.
And then it is also common cause, and it is your knowledge that you are aware, I think you testified to that aspect, that when the 53,212,000 was paid by NAMCOR to Enacon for the sale of their 9 home-based fuel stations, 35 million of that amount was then paid back to NAMCOR to settle the date of the fuel. Is it correct?
That's correct, Your Worship.
And just on this aspect, you are aware, as I've already told you, that the credit limit of NAMCOR was actually 15.5. But then they had exceeded their credit limit. They went up to 35 million. Hence, they had paid back 35 million.
Yes, that's correct.
As a member of the credit committee, or let me ask you this, at that time when that amount accumulated of 35 million that Enacon owed NAMCOR, were you already a member of the credit committee?
No. I
All right.
only started becoming a member of the credit committee on 1st of June 2022.
Okay.
Between the fuel supply agreement that was signed in March, I believe 16th of March, until the end of May 2022, I was not part of the credit committee.
Okay. I just want to find out something. But when you joined, you perhaps got to know about this.
Yes, when you see how it works, Your Worship, is that when a customer requests an increase and is allowed in terms of the policy, in terms of operational factors, it gets motivated by the sales and marketing department through either the territory manager or through the respective commercial manager. And they send a motivation through to the credit committee, which for review and approval. And if I may, also since we are at the credit committee, refer to clause 5 where it says the executive finance, let me just go there, because I need to qualify this 5.2, the finance and administration department and the territory managers, and that's where the request normally originated, are jointly responsible for the collection of debt. So which means when a request like that comes through the credit committee, it comes from the territory managers, who is ultimately responsible for the customer's account and anything to do with the customer in terms of service delivery, etc., including debt collection. So they know the customer's business best. So when they make a recommendation like that to the credit committee and eventually it gets granted, they are then ultimately responsible to ensure that those debts are paid. However, as I mentioned to this court on various occasions, that due to the 15.5 million being set as a credit limit, monthly credit limit, and it's also in the...
Okay, just slow down.
Okay.
Please just talk a little bit slower. However, due to the
fact that the 15.5 million is set as a credit limit, and the anomaly that I pointed out, it's a monthly credit limit, Your Worship. So therefore, the credit term is at that time not exceeded. So when I joined the credit committee at that point in time, there was a 35 million, I believe, outstanding, which is actually basically the 15.5 million. And if you look at the anomaly, if you take into account the anomaly, then it should come to about 32 million, but it was a little bit over that at that point in time. So that's why, Your Worship, and I don't want to take too long, but that's why I mentioned that there's different factors in the credit policy that you just do not look in terms of blocking a customer's account, especially a customer that you want to develop and a customer that has a supply contract worth 200 million, 180 to 200 million per annum revenue for NAMCOR over the 9 years of the asset purchase agreement. It comes to 1.8 billion Namibian dollars revenue for the company. So you just do not take a decision and say, let's just block this account, because when you sign on, Your Worship, a customer, and this is what is making commercial agreements not just black and white. When you sign an agreement with a customer, and this is one of my first things I learned in my trade when I joined the oil industry, is that once you sign a contract, both parties, you put it away, because then the relationship starts. A relationship is then your relation with the customer in terms of various factors. The only time that contract gets visited again is once the relationship breaks down. So in this instance, with that background and the experience, you just do not make a unilateral decision just to cancel or block an account or stop paying on, and especially a customer that is supplying the defense force, the Namibian Defense Force. And I know for a fact that in our executive committee meetings, Your Worship, prior to my joining the credit committee, there was discussions in terms of NAMCOR when they were signed on, that during March, April, May, they always suffer to pay their accounts due to that time the treasury needs to first approve the budgets. So there is sometimes those discretions that needs to be taken into account. But I'll refer to the prosecution also later on if he directs me into certain into a certain direction where the proposal was actually not 35 million that was supposed to be deducted from the asset purchase agreement. In the internal memorandum written by Ms. Donaiski, it was 25 million. But the credit committee convinced the MD that, listen here, let's push for 35 million to be paid back. And it's documented in this bundle. So I have elaborated a bit because, Your Worship, commercial contracts and commercial agreements is not just black and white. And one sentence serves.
Mr. Willemse, I do not want to interrupt you so that I'll not be accused of cutting you short, but
No, it's fine.
yes. So, but let me ask you this. I think one of the things that you have said, you say once you start or you develop a relationship with the client, you put a contract away. But does that not then go against the very contract that you had signed? And I'm specific with regard to what I'm asking at 17.3 to say, look, if the policy says you have to block a customer, why then have it if you are not even using it?
Your Worship, what I was referring to is that I don't sign on these customers. I'm not responsible. I was speaking holistically in terms of things that needs to be considered, because I also testified in this court that once you need to, as an executive, you need to have a holistic view. And this one single clause in this contract doesn't, because why have, then the credit policy just needed to have that clause, and that's a credit policy.
No, that's not what I'm saying. But there are several other clauses which I've shown to you, which is like 13.3, which also says every customer, 13.3 is on page 156A, which actually says every customer must be assigned a credit limit. And then when we read that also with 17.3, they speak to each other. In other words, if there is a limit, if you exceed that, you should not be advanced any petroleum products or fuel. You agree?
No, I do not agree, because, Your Worship, if you look at every customer needs to be assigned a credit limit. That's true on that portion of the question from the prosecution, I agree. But there it also stands, it's also saying that the credit limit demand is to be calculated based on the customer's requirement as well as the financial capability, number one, and the outcome of the assessment, and to ensure operational excellence and support business growth, which is key in this instance. Seasonal peaks and potential oil price tax increases should be taken into consideration, particularly for customers with a strong credit worthiness. And then if we move on to approval, clause 16 on the next page, 157. So one cannot just pick clauses that fits the narrative that wants to be portrayed here. Then you look at 16.2, and it says, if the requested credit facility exceeds the security provided, or no security is provided, zero security, that's what it means. Approval must be obtained according to the NAMCOR schedule of authority with sufficient motivation. Your Worship, the NAMCOR schedule of authority is clear, which gives powers to the MD, which is the ultimate approval or approval of any credit limit or any. So one needs to read this document in conjunction with other documents, in conjunction with other clauses, to try and fit the narrative that serves the state. It's wrong, because then what's the need of having executives, and what's the need of having subjective, which the same policy factors.
So what you are saying is that even if they are given a credit limit,
yes,
you can go above a credit limit.
You can go above it, and as I mentioned, Your Worship, I did put it on record that a credit limit is not cast in stone.
Okay. Let me give you this analogy, Mr. Willemse. You are aware you own bank accounts, actually. You are aware that there is a limit, a withdrawal limit at the bank. You are aware of that?
Correct.
And if you go to the bank, and by this I mean to the ATM, there is a daily limit that is set by the bank.
Correct.
And if you withdraw and you exceed the limit, the ATM will then tell you that you have exceeded your limit, you cannot get money anymore.
Yes.
Is it correct? Okay, and then in fact, even in the bank itself, when you have to make withdrawals over the counter, there is a limit. You agree?
I agree.
Okay, so just maybe if you have an explanation.
Yes, I have.
Yes.
Your Worship,
What is the purpose of that? And by that, you should also take into account. I want to move away from this aspect, but I just want
But
to.
wait, before that,
Yes.
what is the purpose of?
What is the purpose of the bank having a certain limit of which you withdraw? If you have an answer, and also you have to take into account the credit limit that is in the NAMCOR thing, because I'm just trying to understand what you are saying. That credit limit is not cast in stone.
Your Worship, even the limits of the ATM and the daily limits or inside the bank is not cast in stone. It's there for a reason and security is provided. However, as I mentioned here, you contact the bank and ask for an increase of their daily limit or that withdrawal limit through your personal banker or whoever is dealing with your account. And if you have the subsequent funds, they will allow it. I've done it many times where I had to do this. So therefore, I also referred to the prosecution that a proposal, it's just not credit committee decides today we lifting the credit. There's a proposal, there's a request from the customer. And not specifically, where the policy provision for but things like that
or one answer. And I mean you as
These two, Mr. Peter Siniku, who is a senior manager, financial accountant, accounts receivable, Mr. Peter Sibambo, who is a middle manager. They can also report it to her. But these people has not reported these things since July or whenever it happened in 2022. You had 2023. I left only at the end of 2023. You had 2024. Then the case was being made. And this was never brought to light. So now, what about those people that failed their duties? Didn't they then fail if the question of the prosecution is that to put it on my shoulder and the other two accused shoulder and not put it on their shoulder which failed? And so being part of the committee, Your Worship, it tells you something. To keep quiet is also a decision. You don't say anything, but then you want to cry foul. The committee rules also say in every committee that I know, in this commercial environment, say, and even if you abstain, you are bound by the rules of the committee and the decision.
We understand your explanation was very long, but let me put it to you. In fact, the credit policy was supposed to be a tool to curb or to control the oversupply of fuel to customers, but in fact it was used as a credit advantage to the managers, the executive, that is you, Ms. Muharukua and Ms. Dunaiski, to get credit advantage in kickbacks and bribes, which I'll demonstrate to you in your account.
Your Worship, that's not true, it's totally unfounded, and yes, it's a tool, but it's also a tool for business growth. It's also a tool to take the company to the next level. It's also a tool to facilitate the growth of the company in terms of that, because I don't want to explain different things, because that's why this matter is commercial. Because criminal, you need to get and tell the court the full understanding, and sometimes when you sit with, it will take a while if I have to, but if you sit with stock in your tanks that is going to appreciate or depreciate monthly, you have a customer here that can sell, you will support the customer growth as well. Those type of factors need also, because that 10 million sitting there, and you can sell, and I can give one example, and you can sell this to a customer within that period before the price hits where you will lose money of their total volume in tank. A customer like Bahmus, which is similar to Irongo Petroleum, Your Worship, he had a 30 million credit limit. Okay. He came to NAMCOR.
So your answer is no?
The answer is no.
Okay.
But the context, I would like the court to understand sometimes decisions are made within context and not based on a mere yes or no.
Okay.
So if I may just give this example.
Are you done?
No, I'm asking the court if I can make.
No, my answer was actually a yes or no. Your answer was very long. I think I got your answer. Do you have the second bundle with you then?
I do.
I want to take you to page 118. Go to Parliament.
123.
Yes, 123. Paragraph or clause 6.1. Do you see there that it mentions that in terms of the agreement, the seller, which is NAMCOR, was to supply fuel of 400,000 liters per month, equivalent to 3 million.
I see it.
You see it?
I see it.
Okay, so are you aware that later or let me put it this way, that was the credit limit. 3 million was the credit limit of which Erongo Petroleum could get from NAMCOR. You agree?
We now at the Erongo Petroleum.
Yes, 123 is Erongo Petroleum.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm asking you, you agree with me that 3 million was the credit limit of the amount of fuel that NAMCOR could advance to Erongo Petroleum, as per the agreement on
As per
123?
this agreement, I do agree because
Yes.
I can read it.
Yes.
However, just to let the court know, I wasn't part of this fuel supply agreement. I was never part of any fuel supply agreement signed by NAMCOR.
Yes, but my question is still coming. And later, the credit limit of Erongo was actually increased to 10 million, and that was the time you were employed by NAMCOR. You agree?
No, I don't recall when they increased it to 10 million.
Yes, well, there is no documentation. The investigating officer will come and testify to that effect that there was no documentation as such, but the credit limit was increased to 10 million.
Then I cannot agree with you if there's no documentation.
But the question is a bit unfair. My friend says that you were part of the NAMCOR and the credit agreement. Maybe my friend just, for fairness to the accused, say on this date the 10 million was increased, and at this date you were obviously employed. Maybe just to get context for the witness to answer.
Yes, Advocate, if you can just specify your question.
I just want to get to the document if the court can do anything. All right, I'll get to the document, but it's just that there are a lot of documents, but I will still get to the document later because there are quite a number of them. But let me put it to you this way, Mr. Willemse. You are aware that as we speak, the debt of Erongo Petroleum stands at 238 million.
I'm aware of that. It has been testified. Also with the other court with the other accused were mentioned.
And that date was accumulated from sometime in September 2020, after September.
2020?
Yes.
Okay.
Going forward.
2020?
Yes.
Versus 1st of June 2022?
Yes, there was such a date, and I'm getting to that. I'm saying, even after you have joined, after the 1st of June, that date was still there. Are you aware of that?
There was that, yes.
And
Mr. Advocate, if you can just say that question again.
so I'm saying the debt of 238 million is actually from September 2020, if my recollection is well. Let me just put it very well so that I do not distort the facts.
October 2020. That's the date as per the payment schedule.
All right, let me start this way. So when did you join NAMCOR? The 1st of June 2020? 2022. And you are aware that the credit limit of Erongo Petroleum, yes, Erongo Petroleum was increased sometime during September 2022. I retract that question. You are aware of that?
I'm not aware of that, but your worship, yes. In 2022, the debt or the credit limit was increased, and it kept on increasing, and I'll qualify the statement. If your worship would, in order to answer this question, on page 379, there's a payment schedule of Erongo Petroleum.
Of which bundle?
Of the second bundle.
Yes, proceed.
Your worship would see the table there. October 2021, they purchased an amount of 9.8 million.
I don't see that. Where is that?
On this
379?
379.
Yes.
If you look at the table there, then there's a break in that table.
Yes.
Blank space, just above the blank space is October 2021. Erongo Petroleum.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You see?
Yes.
The report is there.
You may proceed.
Proceed.
9.8 million, your worship. I'm not going to read the rest of the numbers. In October 21 already. Then your worship would see November 2021, there's a purchase of 28.8 million already, your worship. I was not a member of the credit committee at that point in time.
At which point in time?
During this period, October 21, November 21, I only start in June 2022, which is the second part, your worship. Now, this customer has already grown. And the previous executive, I was acting at the time, the previous executive who was part of the credit committee already then, in November, October 2021, already this customer has shown a growth in terms of volumes. And therefore the credit limit was adjusted. So the time when the contract was signed on the 3 million, and I recall correctly in the testimony of the investigating officer, it was later raised to 10 million. If you can recall.
Okay.
However, your worship, as I mentioned, now from June 2021, your worship will see on the left, the figures on the left, just next to the petroleum, is the purchases. The figures on the right is the payments. Your worship would recall that I have mentioned today, and I've mentioned that you need to take a lot of factors into consideration, especially the customer's ability to pay. Now, if you look at this, the customer has been procuring fuel, the customer had a good payment profile. In fact, the same investigating officer that is going to testify, come and testify, has testified in the other court, that Erongo Petroleum was a good payer. Erongo Petroleum was a good customer, only up to November, December 2022, your worship. Now, he acknowledged that. The only thing is what happened after November, December 22. That was his concern. Now, the policy allows you growth. The policy allows you, if you are liquid, if you are solvent, those are factors to be taken into consideration because the customer, and so did NAMCOR trading, they grow.
Pardon me, Mr. Willemse, because you are giving very long answers. I do not want to interrupt you, but I think we should just stick to what I ask you. Because if you give lengthy explanations, I think even I ask you now, if I ask you now what was my question, I don't think you recall. Let's do it this way. From what appears on page 379, let's go through that document. During June 2022, you see that the purchase you said is 12 million and that amount. The amount that was paid is 11 million on the right. You agree? At least that is better. But let's say July 2022, fuel of 12 million was purchased, nothing was paid. You agree?
I agree.
And then August 2022, 25 million was fuel was purchased, but only 7 million was paid. You see that? September 2022, fuel of 29 million was purchased, only 15 million was paid.
Correct.
October 2022, 31 million of fuel was purchased, 21 million was paid.
That's correct.
November 2022, 51 million of fuel was purchased, 30 million was paid. And I can go on and on. And I just want to ask you, you have said Irongo Petroleum was a good customer. But from what appears here, they were not a good customer because they were actually getting more than they were supposed to, and they were actually paying less of what they were getting.
Sir, I said, I agree they were good customers because that is what the investigating officer out of his own has testified under oath in the other court, that they were good paying customers, and they were good paying customer in the worship. So, yes, I also testified that credit limits, although you left it, also goes with a credit term, your worship. And there is documentation which the state can request from NAMCOR to be discovered if they may, which we will anyway ask for discovery when it goes to trial.
All right.
Where proposals were sent to NAMCOR to lift the credit term, to inform them, and the proposals for every is when they grow and landed fishing companies, when they entered the bunkering market, which was a market NAMCOR always wanted to be in but couldn't get in. So those type of things, and when you look at this, Your Worship, during this year of all these months together, it's 250 million, just 250.5 million that they paid in 1 year, one single customer. Although they have procured, so that's not in dispute, that they procured over 400 million. That's why 239 million or 238 as testified by the IO was still outstanding. However, they came to NAMCOR in April, May to start making discussions of repayment so that they can catch up.
Okay, just hold on. On that document, do you see that it says total unpaid balance, including interest, stood at $266,714,444.03?
I see that.
Do you see?
Yes.
And this is what you are calling a good customer that is owing that huge amount there, 266 million, despite them having had a credit limit.
Because you look at this out of context. There's a few things wrong with this fund. Number one, the 26 million shouldn't be even the interest calculation, because a decision was made by the Congoro-led board at the time that if a customer is overdue, there's no need to ask interest, and therefore no interest was on any customers, overdue customers, because the view of the board was if the customer is already struggling to pay their accounts, why burden them with even interest? That's number one. Number two, I agree with the prosecution. It went overdue, but if you look at the term, like we said, the anomaly, you give them a credit limit, you support them in the business growth, and that's why I wanted to mention the other example of another customer, because there's also this notion that these two customers were treated, that the same prosecutor has said they were the golden child or something like that to NAMCOR. But there's other customers as well. And yesterday asked me about other customers as well, and this one came to fore as well. So yes, and then a customer comes to you and said, I want to repay you. Yes, I owe you. I acknowledge that I owe you. I can pay you 10 million a month. I was in that board meeting, and the trading board wanted to accept this, but when it was filtered to the main board, they rejected it. I want to pay you 10 million liters a month.
Mr. Willemse, I do not mean to interrupt you, but my question was just to say You are saying Irongo Petroleum CC was a good customer, but they had a credit limit of 10 million, yet their debt was 266 million. Surely that the numbers speak for themselves. They were not a good customer.
It's clear that...
Yes or no? Did they?
No, I
from
cannot
you?
answer yes or no, Your Worship, because I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a prosecutor, but I'm an expert in the fuel industry that I can claim with my years of experience. So you cannot just look at this and say, were they a good customer, yes or no. In my opinion, they were.
Okay.
In the prosecution opinion, they were not.
Okay.
So clearly there's a difference of opinion, but I can qualify my opinion.
Let me ask you, we are in agreement that Irongo Petroleum was an entity of, what is his name there, Lindy? Austin Elindi?
I believe so.
Yes.
Because I don't deal with customers. I heard that he was the beneficial owner of Irongo Petroleum and not on the CC documents, but I know that he was the person dealing with the sales and marketing team.
And Austin Elindi is also an accused in this case. You are aware of that?
I'm aware of that.
Okay, all right. You are aware, in fact, I still stick to what I've said, that NAMCOR Namibia and Irongo Petroleum CC were treated as a golden child of NAMCOR, despite the fact that they were in huge debt.
Okay.
Yes.
I can give you an example of other customers.
And despite you being a member of the credit committee, specifically with Irongo Petroleum, you allowed these things to happen.
No.
Okay.
I took a calculated decision.
Yes.
And that's what we've done.
And I'll show you when I go through your bank statements to show that you allowed this debt to balloon to that amount because you were receiving bribes and kickbacks.
No, I totally disagree, and I never received money directly into my account from Irongo Petroleum, nor NAMCOR.
Okay. I'll still get back to your bank statement with regard to the bribes and the kickbacks. But I just want to ask you something. Is it correct that in the asset purchase agreement you were copied in a memorandum that was drafted on 8 July 2022 by Ms. Olivia Duneski?
Yes, I was.
And I just want to refer the court. It's in the second bundle on page 250. Is it correct that your signature appears there? In fact, it says supported by Cedric Willemse, which is you.
That's correct, Your Worship.
And this memo was drafted by Ms. Duneski, who was a member of the credit committee.
Correct, Your Worship.
And are you aware of the document that is called the Schedule of Authority?
I am aware of the document, Your Worship.
Yes, in fact,
in bundle 1.
Yes, in the first bundle, Your Worship, it's I want to take the court to page 124. Let me ask you this: for assets to be bought by NAMCOR, there had to first to be a budget. For NAMCOR to acquire certain assets, there had to be a budget.
That's correct, Your Worship.
And according to the document that you have in front of you, the purchase of those assets have to get board approval.
The purchase of this asset?
Yes, if NAMCOR was to buy something, they had to be board approved.
Not according to my knowledge, Your Worship.
Okay, let's go to page 124.
Yes.
So, there is a title which says procurements of goods and services as per board approved operational budget. You see that?
Yes.
What does that mean?
And you just read that again, as per board approved operational budget.
Board approved operational budget.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Yes. So, and it says above 25 million. In other words, you can correct me if I'm wrong. If they're above 25 million, they have to get board approved as the operational budget.
There was a board approved operational budget, but Your Worship, if I can direct...
Just hold on. My question you have not answered. I'm asking you, if NAMCOR was to acquire assets above 25 million, they had to be board approved. As per the document, I'm not
That's not
taking
how
this
I
from
read
the...
it, Your Worship.
Okay, how do you read it?
Worship, the schedule of authority, and I'll quote on page 100, the same document that the prosecution is referred to on 116, it clearly states...
Page?
116.
Yes, where are you reading from?
Paragraph 2, guiding principles. The schedule of authority should reduce the amount of detailed decision making required of the Board of Directors, enabling the Board of Directors to focus on strategic policy issues, major matters of substance and significance, and on maintaining oversight of its activities, while devolving the day-to-day decision making to the executive management and other staff employed by NAMCOR. Now if we go to 124 as what the prosecution has said, he clearly states that this is the operational budget. So the budget was approved, Your Worship. And if, I don't want to jump around, but if we have the two bundles open, the one on page 249, which was dealt with, bundle 2, and this bundle on the schedule of authority. Above 25 million, there was a budget, and before I start answering this question, if we look at the internal memo on page 249, and we go to paragraph the last paragraph above approval request on page 250. And I will read. The feasibility study results were favorable.
Is it still bundle 1?
That's on bundle 2, page 250, Your Worship, but we need to read it in conjunction with the schedule of authority that the prosecution has referred us to.
Okay, so which page are you reading from?
250, Your Worship.
Okay.
Just above the approval request. The feasibility study results were favorable in acquiring the assets of NAMCOR Namibia worth 212,000 Namibian dollars, 53,212,000 Namibian dollars. NAMCOR has made, Your Worship, this comes from the sales and marketing team, to the managing director. NAMCOR has made provision for this takeover in the current financial year's budget. Therefore, no debt financing is required. In addition to the external valuation of assets that was valued actually by an external company of 55. However, NAMCOR opted to go by the internal valuation. Now, Your Worship, the sales and marketing team, who is the owner of this budget and who was the one acquiring these assets on behalf of NAMCOR Trading and Distribution, has confirmed here that there was provision made. The Executive Finance and Administration has testified in the other court that when before she made payment, she consulted the budget. There was a budget of 25 million for asset acquisitions. 25 million. However, there was also a budget for business development, which she was not sure, but the MD confirmed it was around 40 million. So together, it was around 65 million, both budgets. So this acquisition, in their mind, the sales and marketing, is that one is for assets and one is to grow the company's business, because you grow it by about 700 to 1 million liters per month, which gives you an annual income or revenue of 180 to 200 million, depending on the fuel price. Now, this document, when it was given, it specifies that there was a budget, and it was a board-approved budget, Your Worship. The board gives you a budget, and you need to go and trade. You don't go and say...
Okay, before you proceed, the question is, if NAMCOR is to acquire items that are above 25 million, they have to have board approval.
Yes.
Your answer was not. No.
Yes.
So maybe just in a simple term, what is the answer?
The answer, Your Worship, is that there was a budget which consisted of two budgets. You don't if a budget is approved by the board, Your Worship, this is the context that I'm answering, then you don't go back and get approval again once you want to acquire assets, only if it's above 25. But in this case, there was a budget for 40 and a budget for 25. So there was approved board budget to do this acquisition.
Okay, just hold on. Let me, Mr. Willemse, let's interrogate the document on page 215, the second bundle. You see where you read, it says NAMCOR has made provision for this takeover in the current financial year's budget. Therefore, no budget financing is required. I just want to ask you, from my reading of this document, I do not see NAMCOR has approved and budgeted for the takeover of these assets. I do not see it there.
Your Worship.
That's the question. Please.
Yeah. You don't see it there, but
yes.
I'm reading in this budget, in this document, that
yes.
there was a budget.
Okay.
For the acquisition of these assets. It doesn't specify, and it says no debt financing is required, so we don't need to go and borrow money to pay for this, because there was 25 million and 40 million.
Okay. Debt financing versus approved and budgeted for is different.
Yeah,
you agree with me?
If you need to go for debt financing, then you need to get board approval, Your Worship.
Yes.
But if it was already budgeted and the money is available, you don't need to take an operational approved budget back to the board to say, you have approved for me to buy assets. Now give me authority to go ahead. I have found the assets.
Okay, so the document in the first bundle on page 124 says procurement of goods and services, and in this regard I'm going to the asset purchase agreement. Board approved operational budget. You agree? Above 25 million.
Yeah.
It says so. You agree?
Yes.
And the asset purchase agreement of the 9 home-based fuel stations were worth 53,212,000.
That's correct.
And already it exceeds the 25 million, which does not need board approval. You agree?
I agree if I look at it from your perception.
Yes.
What I'm also seeing here, Your Worship, the board that is referring here, that's supposed to, is the Central Procurement Board, because when it comes to procurement issues, the main board or the NAMCOR board or any board of NAMCOR or any parastatal has no say in any procurement matters. So that's one anomaly that the state is overlooking. Number two, if operational budget is approved for business development, which also includes pump tanks and those things, as well as asset.
Just speak a little bit slower, please.
Okay.
Just repeat that again.
If a board approves an operational budget, because they don't just approve one specific budget for NAMCOR, for example, they approved a holistic budget with a lot of things. So one of the things was asset acquisition, which was 25 million budgeted. The other one was business development, which was 40 million budgeted. And I'm trying to explain, not because I'm part of sales and marketing, I'm explaining from a position where I was part of the executive, because this was discussed. Because I do not have any, as I explained, role in playing other than supporting, and that I was advising this, advising the team how to go about it and things like that, a limited involvement. So that's why I only support, I didn't recommend, I didn't approve. However, to clarify this matter so that the state understands it, that 25 million was approved board budget. 40 million was an approved business development budget by the board as well. Now, if you look at this acquisition in not just on the asset purchase, you look at it that is asset purchase coupled with volume and customer growth. If you look at 700 million liters coming to NAMCOR as opposed to nothing, 700 to 1 million liters, then you take make a decision in terms of context, because this is a business. This is not a yes and no decision. That's why it's not black and white. It's, yeah.
Okay, let me ask you. Do you have any documents? Because I have not seen any document that you have said it's from the Central Procurement. It should have been from the Central Procurement Board. And even if it was from the board of directors, do you have any document? I have not seen any.
The procurement?
If you can show me that, yes, the acquisition of the home-based fuel stations worth 53,212,000 were actually approved by the Central Procurement Board, as you are suggesting, or even by extension from the board of directors. Is there such a document that shows that?
I didn't say it was approved by the Central Procurement Board. I'm saying...
That's what you said, okay, but you can answer.
Please, Your Worship, that the prosecution mustn't take my explanations out of context. I'm saying the board of directors of NAMCOR has no input into procurement matters. It's actually the Central Procurement Board. However, because the procurement of that specific budget, to couple with business development, allows you to procure this, so you didn't exceed the 25 million as such. However, if you want to see...
So you're saying that this board procurement, Central Procurement Board, approves the operational budget?
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying, once the budget is approved, but there's obviously a ceiling by the board of directors, and you exceed the threshold of that budget, then you need to go to the Central Procurement Board.
Okay.
However, in this instance, money was taken from one budget, approved board budget vote, which is the business development budget, and approved board budget vote, which was the asset acquisition budget. And then this asset. And the only requirement, Your Worship, and which was already considered by the managing director in the previous bail application, was that if you take from one budget vote to another, and it exceeds, I think it's 20 or 25%, then you need to get not board approval, you need to report it or notify the Audit, Risk and Finance Committee. So that is the only shortcoming which the managing director didn't do, and he has put that on record, and which you also clarified that is not a criminal by oversight. That oversight is not criminal, and he has already been disciplined and fired because of that, because of this asset agreement. So that's why it was clarified. I'm saying, because I'm trying to clarify this, I could have, because I want the court to understand where we come, I could have said, oh no, I wasn't part of that. I wasn't the budget owner. It's not my department, and that is what I actually must say. It's not my department, it's not. I merely supported, if someone asked me, come and review this documents. Does it make sense? Is it a good business? Then he said yes, and he said, okay, support it. Yes, I would support it.
Yes, Advocate, is your question still not answered, or can we move on to the next question?
I just want to ask Mr. Willemse, because we are going around in circles, I just want a yes or no answer, or a very short answer. Don't go around town explaining. I just want you to give me, or to tell me if there is a document that shows that the acquisition of the 9 home-based fuel stations was budgeted for either by the Central Procurement Board, as you are saying, or approved by the Board of Directors. Show me a document that says so. Do you have a document? Is there such a document?
Your Worship, there is no such document like that, and it was not required for the Board of Directors of NAMCOR to approve this, because it was consisted of 2 approved budget votes. That's my answer, Your Worship.
Okay, and is it correct that we have already established that your signature and Ms. Dunaiski's signature appears on the memorandum of 8 July?
That's correct. My signature is there. Supported Cedric Willemse, acting executive supply.
Why was it important that your signature appears there on the memorandum that appears on 250?
It's on the request of the managing director, Your Worship. The prosecution had the chance of asking those questions to the managing director. He didn't. He had a chance to put it out there in the other court. He didn't. So
no, I'm asking you now.
I don't know. I follow instructions given to me by my superior. which is the managing director. And he asked me for my involvement, but on a limited basis, because this is not doesn't fall under my jurisdiction, but because of my expertise in the industry, I just need to assist the team and look into this. That's why my signature is on 2 documents, Your Worship. One is this one, and the other one I was asked to co-endorse an invoice of this, and that is my involvement in this, and here and there give advice, as I have testified already.
So are you just signing something that you do not know? You are just told to sign and then you sign. That has money implications.
Your Worship,
As an experienced executive.
I never testified that I didn't know, and I never testified that I signed something. My explanation here to the court, and I'm giving context to the court, that is why I signed. So if that context doesn't fit the narrative of the state, it's not my problem, Your Worship. I need to put it out there that this is the rationale, because this is not supposed to be a criminal matter, but it needs to be looked in the context of a commercial transaction, Your Worship.
Okay, we'll get to your bank statement now. Let me just ask you a few questions. Okay, we have established that from the 53,212,000, 35 million was paid back to NAMCOR. We are in agreement.
I'm in agreement.
And we have also established that 9.5 million was paid from Enacon to Eco Trading, an entity owned by Victor Simaneka Malima. You agree that those are the facts that we have so
The
far?
9.3 was paid from?
9.5 million was paid
9.5.
from Enacon to Eco Trading's account, an entity owned by Victor Simaneka Malima.
So, I see my learner is going to a new aspect. May I just ask for a short German bathroom break?
What?
And at least we have another hour for cross-examination before one.
What time? Do we start at 12? Okay, we can then adjourn and continue at 12 o'clock.
Guys,
May I proceed, Your Worship?
Just a moment.
Oh, sorry.
You may proceed.
Mr. Willemse, for now, I want to proceed with your bank account, the standard bank account, the ones that end with 442. I've seen that there are just a few pages in the first bundle. In fact, it's the bank statement that is dated, statement that is has a stamp of 5.
Which page?
Page 176, my apologies. That bank statement, Your Worship, is supposed to have 65 pages, but I've seen that in the bundle that has been given to court, it only has 2 pages of that. That is page 1 and then page 19.
Yes, may I just assist my colleague? There's a bank statement on bundle 2.
Yes.
From page 288.
288
288.
of the second bundle.
The second bundle, which would give that complete statement my learned friend is referring to. It has one part is one page 1 to 37, and the second part is page 1 to 29. So that would give the 65 pages my learned friend is referring to.
I don't think Mr. Isaacs gets what I'm saying. I'm saying that the statement from the 1st of January 2022 to 31 December has 65 pages. But I've seen that from the documents that he has compiled in both his first and second bundle, it does not have the complete 65 pages, 1 to 65. It has only a few parts.
Yes, I see that on page 176. It's only page 1 of 65, and page 177 is page 19 of 65.
Yes, then it ends there.
That's where it ends.
So may I just direct you to volume 2?
Yes.
Volume 2 and 288.
Yes, and that says, that is page 1 to 37.
No, Yusuf, I will refer you to volume 2.
Yes, I'm looking at volume 2.
Bundle 2. On page that is marked 288. Is your worship there? Because I
Yes.
think you are referring to first bundle.
Yes, there are 2 different bundles, but if you do check the date, they have different dates. It's dated 9 May 2025, the other is dated 28 February 2024.
Yes,
Yes.
I'm with you. What I'm saying is that,
I see.
just a second. What I'm saying is that on page 288, if you look at that page number in the second bundle, the bank statement starts from 1 January 2022.
231. 231 December 2022,
Yes.
while the other refers to January 2022 to the 31st of December 2023.
Yes. And then you look at page 340, it starts with 1 December 2023 to 31 December 2023. I'm sure so these are 2 years of which my learned friend has combined as page 1 to 65. But we can hopefully we'll be following. Maybe if my learned friend can give me a copy of the 65 pages that he's saying.
I think your client, Mr. Isaacs, understands what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but my understanding is basically the same, because I see on page 1 to 65 on the first bundle, it says 1/1/2022 to 31/12/2023. So it's 65 pages. So the one that Mr. Isaacs is referring to is in 2 parts. It's 1/1/2022 to 31/12/2022. So that covers a year of 37 pages out of the 65.
Yes.
But then the 2023 has its own section. So if you add the 2, then you will come to 65 pages.
All right.
Because you'll see the other one is 29 pages plus 37 pages.
Or they are just apart. So
Yeah,
it's
they're
fine.
just separate, yeah.
It's okay. So it's fine. Will the court be able to follow, or should I give just one complete set if it's
I can
important?
follow depending on which bundle you are referring to. I will be able to follow.
Okay. Because I have them compiled just in one document. I can't go back and forth to the two bundles. But I'll do
Because
this.
now I have pages that there are page numbers. So I don't know if you're referring to the page numbers,
Yes, I will.
to the correct page numbers that are
Yes.
in this.
Yes.
Then I will follow.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. Now, Mr. Willemse, let's start this. I just want to take you to page 19 of that statement that is dated the 1st of January 2022 to 31 December 2023.
Page 210.
There will be 306.
Yes, I'm there.
There is an amount that appears in the credit column dated 15 July 2022. Do you see that?
That's correct, Your Worship.
And it has a transaction description as game and goats.
PMT, yes, Your Worship.
Yes. So, where did this money come from?
It came from quality meat
Okay.
because I looked if we there's a statement that the state provided us for quality meat.
Yes. Okay. It's fine. It's fine. You are saying it came from quality meat.
That's what.
Quality meat supplies.
Yes, quality meat supplies.
Okay. And what business were you doing with quality meat supplies?
As per the narrative on the statement, it defines that, and like I testified yesterday, that I did business with quality meat supplies, and actual fact, I also testified that I met Mr. Malima, and our first transaction was in April, somewhere in April 2022, for this 150,000 that was paid about a 1 month overdue. So it was paid in June, it was 15th June, but it was an invoice that I told the court, I am in detention, I don't have access, my things are all over, but I know there's invoices for each transaction that I did with quality meat.
Okay. So you had the testimony of the investigating officer. In fact, he testified that Quality Meat Supplies is a briefcase company. In other words, non-existent. The documents of BIPA documents says it's somewhere in Fumbe Street in Simbebasia, but when he went there, it's a residential building. There is no butchery there. What is your answer?
It is in what street?
Fumbe Street in Simbebasia. There is nothing there. It's a house. There is no butchery there.
Oh, yes, sir. I hear what Mr. Prosecutor is saying. However, I beg to differ that it's not a briefcase company because the state has disclosed bank statements of quality meat, although it was just not a lot of pages, but it shows that there was multiple transactions and payments made and payments received on this company. So it cannot be a briefcase company, but if the briefcase company is defined by an address, because sometimes when I've done it before, when I opened a company and I haven't got the business premises.
You've opened a shell company.
No, that's not what I'm saying. If I open a company and I haven't registered or I haven't got a business address or business premises yet, I use my own address or one of the addresses where I'm currently residing to open the CC documents in the registry for the people. And later, you are supposed to then just change it. So sometimes you don't change it, but I'm just trying to say that might be illogical, but it's not for me to say. I cannot testify to that.
Okay. So, Mr. Willemse, have you been in Fumbe Street where Quality
No.
Meat Supplies is?
I haven't.
So if I tell you that Quality Meat Supplies is a briefcase company, in other words, it doesn't exist. It just exists on paper, but there is no address. If you go, you find a butchery. It's non-existent. Would you disagree with me?
I totally disagree with you. So why did NWR pay money to NWR Namibia Wildlife Resorts? And there's Brady Bites and there's lots of things. So does that, so an address determines a briefcase company? But I don't agree with you. We can.
All right. So
That's
the
the answer.
investigating officer is actually coming to testify that this 150,000 that you got on the 15th of July 2022 was a prelude to the bribe and the kickbacks as the result of the asset purchase agreement between NAMCOR Namibia and NAMCOR.
Can you define prelude?
It's the start. It's something that starts something.
So,
It's an introduction to something.
so even before the transaction has been concluded about NAMCOR bribes were paid, is that what you
Yes.
are referring to? Okay.
You were paid the bribe because you were going to facilitate the asset purchase agreement.
Your Worship, I'll say it for the record again, I have not received any money from NAMCOR in my bank account.
All right, there is a transaction. Let me ask you this. Is it correct that the asset purchase agreement between NAMCOR and NAMCOR was signed on the 18th of July?
I presume you are right.
Yes, and then on the 20th of July, let's go to your bank statement, still on the same page. You see an amount of 960,000 that
I
came
do.
into your account? Okay, where did that money come from?
It says there in the narrative, beef, lamb and game carcasses payment
From who?
from Quality Meat Supplies.
And again, we are saying Quality Meat Supplies, which was an entity owned by Victor Simaneka Malima, who we are saying is the financer. He gave you that money because you had again facilitated the asset purchase agreement. This was a bribe.
I totally disagree with you because I informed the court even that, and we break it down, 960,000, Your Worship. It's about, if you work on 15,000 carcass, it's a minimum. Actually, my lawyer worked it out, it was 22, and I said just 50, and it comes to 60 carcasses. But it wasn't just beef carcasses, there was multiple. And I intend to prove this at trial, Your Worship. But for now, I also didn't put the narratives here, Your Worship. The narratives was put by the person transferring this money into my bank account for an transaction, legitimate commercial transaction, Your Worship. That's my answer.
So are you saying from 15 July to between 15 July and 20 July, you sold livestock to the value of 1,110,000 to Quality Meat Supplies? Is that what you are saying?
That's what I'm saying, and I also told the court of the fact that the state is preventing me to provide evidence by keeping my laptop that can take 1 day to transfer. I would be able to show this court. I even tried to reach out to Agribank to get a head statement to prove to this court I had the animals. So where is that animals? It's been sold.
Okay. Mr. Willemse, as a farmer, as you told us, who owns, I think you own 3 farms?
Yes, used
Yes.
to.
Yes. Okay, so you are aware of what is called a stock card,
Yes,
which has the stock head, in other words, the number of livestock that you have,
correct.
and those are registered on the system of the meat board, if I'm correct?
Correct. A meat board as well as state vet.
State veterinary, yes. And those documents, you do not need your laptop to get them. One can just go to the veterinary or the meat board to get that stock head.
I disagree with you because I tried sending people there, asking for printouts. I was unsuccessful. Maybe if the state can do it on my behalf, it would be great. Because what I'm trying to say, and there's the difference, and where people not understand the informal sector. when you have your main stock, in terms of your breeding cows, your cows that you are taking to the market, you put a tag on all of that. But when you are in a business of also trading with the informal market, one tag costs you about, I don't know what it costs now, maybe $30, $40. Imagine you have 300 cattle. How much would it cost you? So now you brand your cattle with your brand that is coming from the meat board. But you don't necessarily put a tag and register it right from the farm, go and register it, and then later just slaughter it on the farm and process it. The tagging comes when other people do that because of stock theft purposes. In other cases, you slaughter it on the farm, you process it on the farm, you take it to the markets. That's also not a crime to do that.
Did you perhaps have any proof of any permits, the movement of the animals or the carcasses?
No, when you give, you don't take a permit, you give normally a permission that this was slaughtered on this. So when you come to the, not borders, the roadblocks, and you provide
So
that.
where is that proof?
This happened in 2022, Your Worship. I have testified that I have moved so much. I might be able to get them, but I don't know. It's in boxes. Like I said, I first stayed in Muharukua Street, I stayed in Avers, then I was moved to the farm. So, like I said to Your Worship, I'm in detention. It's difficult for me, but I had the stock and the herd of this cattle and pigs. The infrastructures is on the farms. Both the slaughtering facilities, both the piggeries, both the crawls, is everything there. So in all three farms there are these facilities. I make sure of it because I'm in that trade market.
Okay, let me find out something, Mr. Willemse. Are you saying, for the 2 months now that you are in custody, you are saying you have been unable to get even one permit or one stock card that has the number of livestock that you had at that time? You have been unable to get even one.
I have sent people numerous times to my farm. I have asked them to look into boxes, the answer that they are giving me, and sometimes people that you are sending are not doing the job that you're supposed to do, or that they are supposed to do that you ask them, so they couldn't find. I even said on the table there should be some statements because I didn't file most of it because I was working through it.
Have you gone to veterinary or have you sent someone to request to give you a head statement of the number of livestock that you had?
I did.
Okay. Did you get an answer?
Yes, they couldn't. They say once it's drawn. So once some of the cattle that I have given to sold through auctions as well, once they take it off, it goes off your statement. And every now and then you update your statement with what is still left at the farm in terms of your tax and the ones that you have slaughtered to remove.
In 3 years, it's already gone, Mr. Willemse.
That's what they say to me, that they have removed it from the system, the ones that I informed them that has been slaughtered, and the ones that are still alive, they are there. But currently, I had to sell all my cattle because when I bought farm Okamutambu, I'm not sure if I informed the court, I bought a game farm. There is blue wildebeest on the farm. I went to the Ministry of Agriculture to get a permit to shoot them out because I cannot move my cattle to that farm because they are giving each other sickness. So I was told that they will not allow that. So when I moved from the rental farm...
Okay, I understand, but you are answering something I didn't ask you. I think it will just shorten our proceedings if you don't answer other things. So from the meat board, did you get any stock head or anything?
I did not.
Okay, did you send someone to go and ask about that?
I sent someone to the state veterinary to ask them to go and inquire and get a copy of that. They say they cannot provide it because it's all off the system, and that's what I'm conveying to this court.
All right. If you have a recollection, how much stock approximately did you sell in combination? 150,000, the one worth 150,000, and the one for 960,000. How much approximately did you sell?
Like I said, it's a combination. The 150,000 just didn't consist of beef. It was different livestock. So I cannot tell you how much I have sold because I don't have the invoices in front of me.
When you shoot game on your farm,
Yes.
as a farmer who had a farm, or who still has a farm, do you just shoot as you want, or you get permits as well?
No, for game only for sometimes when you move game, but I'm processing my game, my farm. That's what I've been telling this court.
And that is the most plausible explanation that you can give with regard to you having not provided any proof.
Your Worship, the most plausible explanation for me to give to the, when this comes to trial is to produce the invoices. So that will be undeniable evidence.
Okay. On page 20 of that same statement, a transaction of 26 July 2022, reference beef carcass, amount 350,000. You see that?
Yes, I see that.
Where did you get that money from?
Quality means of time.
The shell company.
Not the shell company, I disagree with you.
Okay, so do you have any proof again to show that you have actually sold these big carcasses to the value of
I know there is
350,000?
invoices, but I haven't got access to the invoices now. I haven't found them. But I will get invoices once if the court grants me bail, I will produce invoices at trial.
You don't even have even a folio or a page of that invoice, nothing at all.
I was put in detention from the 8th of July. I'm in custody. I don't even know what's happening on my farm, but what I can tell you, your own investigators, the state's own investigator, ACC, or I don't know who was on one of the farms that I'm renting, they, or at arrest, Your Worship, they asked me what happened to your 287 cattle. So they were there. I was told there were people from the police who counted my livestock, Your Worship. Surely you can ask them, where did they get that info of 287 cattle? Where did they get it?
So in a month, Mr. Willemse, you are saying 15 July, 20 July, and then 26 July, you had slaughtered animals to the value of 1,460,000.
I told the court that it happened in intervals. Every week you slaughter probably about 20. I also sold to my brother in Walvis Bay, who's selling informally. He slaughters in a month about 20, so 5 a week. So it's not impossible. You slaughter in intervals, and that's why I said also to this court that this amount normally is not one invoice. It's a multiple invoice that you produce and you give, and I don't when
So your answer is yes.
Answer is yes.
Okay.
So let's go to page 22 of that same statement. 18 August 2022. Just a few days after 26 July. Are you then saying again you sold stock, or the reference is quality QMS, which I suppose is quality meat supplies, beef, in the amount of 500,000?
That's correct.
These were also animals, like it's beef, I suppose it's cattle.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Are you in a position to tell us how much, or how many rather, how many you had slaughtered?
It's probably around, if I make a quick calculation, maybe 40, 45.
Okay. You should have really have a lot of cattle, Mr. Willemse.
I had.
You had?
I had. I told the court, if you were listening, Mr. Prosecutor.
Of course, I'm listening attentively.
Yes, I told the court I had 3 farms. I rented 3 farms as well, Your Worship. I sold and I reduced my cattle due to over my grazing and the impact on myself, on my business, in terms of buying food and supplement it. And I also invested in machinery to do boss course. That's also what I told the court. So, and it was not just beef, in this instance is beef, but I told predominantly it was beef, but I had more than 300 pigs. And I even told the court that every 3 months, 3 days, you get one breed pig or so. I'm giving you between 8 and 12 piglets.
Okay, it's fine. But again, even on that 500,000 that I've just asked you now, there is also no permit, no stock card, stock head of the amount of livestock that you had slaughtered, no invoice, nothing.
I will gather this information at trial because I know I will find it. Because I know I have copies of these herd statements which has the stock numbers of the cattle on it. So then I don't need to provide that, and I will be able to provide invoicing documents for that.
Interestingly, there is a document on the second bundle on page 381 that relates to an invoice for Parkwood Petroleum and Logistics.
That's
you
correct.
Recall that?
That's correct.
Where were you able to get this document?
Because, as I explained, Your Worship, I'm farming in my personal capacity. My personal finances is in shambles. However, this document is from the company. It was done through the company, so obviously I could gather this one, not from me. I got it as a copy in one of the files that I'm not too sure if it comes from the accountant or one of my admin people, but somehow my people get this copy of this invoice and forward it to my lawyer. I didn't even see it only when I was consulted.
So you are saying it was, if I can put it to you, it was easier for you to get this invoice on 381, but you are unable to get documents for your livestock, not even a page.
Because, Your Worship, my personal finances and my personal farming business, I do myself. My business was operated through people that manages it, that assisted me, and we are talking about two different things.
The investigating officer will come and testify that this money that you have referenced as beef carcass or beef and game and goats is actually not true. These were bribes that were channeled from eco trading to quality meat supplies and then to your account, and you were not selling any livestock whatsoever.
Your Worship, I cannot testify as to where the money came from, other than what was presented in the other court where bank statements was disclosed of other entities. Number one, eco trading never had business relation with NAMCOR, even to date. Number two, quality meat never had a business relationship with NAMCOR. The only conclusion and narrative and inferment that the state is making is that the payments story. I do not know where they get their money, but I know my debt was paid. My invoices was paid. And that's what I'm interested in. The inferment of Enacon Eco Trading, because as I recall, the payment, the reference from Enacon to Eco Trading was for fuel payments, and that was also testified by the Ilindi brothers. So that is also wiped away, and the state is asking me for one documentary evidence to just prove, but the state has provided none other than bank statements that is informants.
So, Mr. Willemse, I just want to find out something from you. You are aware that Victor Simaneka Malima, as we are alleging, is that he was the financer or the person that was giving these bribes. You are in agreement that firstly, Eco Trading is a company of Victor Malima? You agree?
I heard so, yes.
Quality Meat Supplies is an entity of Victor Simaneka Malima?
Beneficial owner, yes.
Yes, okay. We are in agreement. So I just want to tell you that the investigating officer will come and testify that the money that you are receiving, these transactions that I've referred to you and some that I'll refer to, were actually bribes for you having facilitated the asset purchase agreement.
I totally disagree with you, Your Worship.
And let's proceed to page 29 of that bank statement.
Yes.
Do you see an amount on the 1st of November?
Yes, I see it.
550,000. The reference again is QMS, which I suppose is again quality meat supplies.
That's correct.
Okay, so what payment was that for? What were you paid for?
I presume it was meat products, but I cannot say what. If it was game, if it was cattle, or it was a mix.
You were selling cattle again, Mr. Willemse.
I'm always selling cattle.
Okay. Your cattle, were they giving birth like fish? You kept selling and selling.
Let's just take one step back. 287 cattle which your officers or the state's officers or the ACC saw, or whoever that was there saw. Multiply it by, let's say 15. If multiplied by 15 and come to a number, and that is just cattle that doesn't breed. Let's say it's cattle that doesn't breed. Let's argue that. How much is that? I just want to know.
Proceed.
If I just sell it at 10,000, it's 2.8 million, Your Worship, 2,870 million. So just for 10,000. But then it means from 2020, it never breed. From 2010, which when I was 2011, 2010, when I was farming, my cattle never bred. So I had this 287 cattle that was sold by ACC officials, which is worth 2.870 million at a minimum fraction. So if I say if it was 15,000 as an average, then it will be more than 4 million. So this is much more than these numbers you are talking about.
Maybe just for assistance of the court, Your Worship, it works out to 4,275,000 without no children from the cows.
Okay, and again, Mr. Willemse, for this transaction of the 1st of November 2022, there is no permit, no stock card or stock head, nothing that you can produce again to show that you indeed sold cattle to quality meat supplies.
I cannot testify as no. I said I do not have access to it now.
Okay.
It is there, it should be there, and it will be provided at right. If I get out on bail, maybe it will take me 2-3 days, then I can present it.
Let's proceed to the next page, page 30. On the 2nd of November 2022, there is an amount of 200,000 that was, I suppose, is money sent to an account in South Africa. Are you in agreement?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
What were you paying for in South Africa?
I can't recall.
Okay. Did you have an account in South Africa?
I confirmed that yesterday.
In fact, again on the 7th of November 2022, still on the same page, you sent another amount of 100,000 to an account in South Africa.
Yes.
Okay. And then on 8th November, still on the same page, are you there? 8th November 2022, yes. You again received an amount of 50,000 from Quality Meat Supplies.
That's correct.
Okay, any proof of stock that you sold, stock head or anything?
Not at this moment.
All right, okay. And again, we are saying these were all bribes that we are receiving from Victor Simaneka Malima, the financer?
No.
All right. Let's proceed to
sorry, the financial firm, which company? I just want to make sure we may...
the financer for the bribes.
Of which company? Financial of what?
I'm saying he was receiving this money from Victor Simaneka Malima, the finance of the bribes, the owner of Quality Meat Supplies. He was financing the bribes as a result of the asset purchase agreement between Enercon and NAMCOR.
Oh, sorry, it's the financial of Enercon and Irongo. I have it like that now.
You may proceed.
So, Mr. Willemse, let's proceed to page 32. I just want to find out from you. You made a lot of cash deposits on the 7th of, not 7th, the 27th of November.
Yes.
In fact, on that day you made about 30,000 cash deposit. Were these deposits made by you into your own
Yes.
account? Okay, where was that money coming from?
I believe it's stated there, goats, 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 goats.
And again, you...
And I did inform the court that I'm selling goats to the informal markets.
Okay,
So I get cash. What do I do with that cash? I paid it in my bank account. Namra is aware of it. All this cash deposits is part of the 61 million that the state in the charge has included. So it's not hidden, your worship. It's part of and it's now common cause that 61 million went through my account, which includes the year 2022. So going one by one, yes, we can do it, but like I said, it's common cause.
let's proceed to page 34, Mr. Willemse. There is a deposit or an amount that you sent to Norton Rose Fulbright Incorporated.
Yes.
This is in South Africa, right?
Correct.
It's a law firm.
That's correct.
Okay, and we have evidence from the investigating officer. He's coming to testify that this was for purchase of flats. Are you in a disagreement?
She's right.
Okay.
I never said I didn't procure property in South Africa.
All right. And in fact, on the same day, again, you made two deposits
Yes.
in the total amount of 500,000.
Correct. That is why I informed the court when I acquire assets and properties, because I sold most of my livestock. I sold machinery, I sold equipment. Even I had 12 trucks in Parkwood which I sold cash to Zambians, which I will at trial get one of the supervisors that was working there that dealt with these transactions, and that cash payments sent to me, and I put it in my bank because the company was established by loans from myself.
Okay. In fact, the investigating officer is coming to testify that because of your flamboyance and your flashy lifestyle, that's how they were able to get these amounts, or to arrest you, because of how you were spending money and how you were also depositing money in your account.
Your Worship, I haven't seen that making money in this country or in any country is a crime, so I'll totally deny what you have just said.
Okay, let's proceed to page 18. There is an amount on 18 December 2022. You sent an amount of 20,000 to an account in South Africa. You are in agreement?
18 December.
Yes, on page 35
Yes,
of
yes.
that statement.
Yes. 18 December.
Yes. And in fact, again on 20 December, you sent another amount to an account in South Africa in the amount of 15,000. You see that?
Yes.
Okay. What was that for?
I cannot recall, but how is that linked to money that I sent out to any payment? From who did I get that money?
Because we are saying these are all bribes that you were sending to foreign accounts to disguise them so that they cannot be found.
I told this court I had expenses in South Africa. I tell this court once again, my kids are there. The university fees are For my kids are there, I have expenses. There's quite a lot of my eldest daughter is there. I have told the court I've paid 15,000 rand a month. So I pay into my bank account and I transfer it to them. So I need to have money in my South African bank account to sustain business activities as well as my personal activities in the country. I make the money here. I declare it here by putting it in, and we will at court show the submissions we made to NAMRA, which includes this 61,000. But actually, my accountant just informed me it was 70 million that we declared to NAMRA.
Okay. On page 37, there is an amount on a date 8 January 2023. It's a cash deposit by yourself of 19,600. Do you see that? On page 37 of that same statement.
36 of
37.
Sorry,
Can you just give me the
I
date?
don't see the deposit. It looks like a balance brought forward. Maybe my little friend must just maybe read that. If it's on page 37.
So it's cash deposit, game 1.
Okay, maybe this is page 37 of page 37.
37 of 65. That's what I have.
I think it looks different on the one on the bundle too. It's on page 324. It's a balance brought forward.
Yes.
Yes.
Of the same statement from 1 January 2022 to 31 December.
Yes,
Okay,
of 2022.
It's on page 325, Your Worship. 325. Because it goes over to the renewal to 2023, January.
Yes, I hear, but my little friend is saying there was a deposit of 70,000 made.
19,600.
19,600.
I can't find it.
It's on page 325, 8 of the first.
It's 19,600.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I cannot see that.
So you should page 325.
At the bottom. There's only one credit, Your Worship.
Is this the one I have of page 325 of bundle 2?
Yes.
Is dated 26 February 2024 of a statement from the 1st of January 2023 to the 31st of December 2023.
That is correct. So on 8 January,
On 8 January,
there's a credit of
19,600.
that is correct.
Okay, you may proceed.
And then Mr. Willemse on page 38, on 18 January, an amount of 20,000 again was deposited into your account.
Yes.
Okay?
Just to get clarity, these deposits my little friend is saying, is it still part of the bribes, as he said? Because obviously my question want to be directed to in Nambao as to where this payment is coming from. So these deposits, are they part of the charges or simply just deposit that's been put in the court? We need to just get clarity.
It's the bribes that the accused person was receiving.
Okay, maybe you can then ask the question? Because you're just saying that on page this, there's an
Yes,
amount of
I'll put it
19,600?
then, I'll say the 20,000, in fact I've been asking, the 20,000 that you receive on 18 January 2023 is also a bribe that you had received, and not for any game that you have sold, fish that you have sold at an informal market, meat that you had sold at an informal market. We are saying these were bribes that you had actually receiving in cash and putting into your account.
Okay. I totally deny that statement, but I was just saying, so I do not have the ability to sell in cash. Strange. Because I had the ability prior to 2017, 18, 2017, even going back in my career, I sold a lot of things on cash. So now I've lost that ability. Strange, but anyway.
In fact, we are again saying on 24 January 2023, the amount of 20,000 that you deposited in your account was also a bribe. You have an answer?
I disagree, and
Okay.
we can, for the record, this statement, Your Worship, is on record, and there's quite a number. We can go through all of them where I made cash deposits. So I don't know if the prosecution wants to go through each one of them, but I'll state that it's not bribes.
Let me ask you, go to page 37 of that document, a transaction of 8 January, where you received 19,600. Yes, it's on page 37
I
of the
received
statement.
96,000.
No, 19,600.
Okay.
And then there is a transaction on page 39 where you received 19,600 again.
Yes.
I find it quite plausible, or not plausible enough, that you receive money in the same amounts almost on all intervals.
Not the same amount, Your Worship.
Yes, they are almost the same. 19,600 on that day, 19,600 on 1 February 2023 on page 39.
Okay. I'm not sure whoever has paid money into an ATM, but I have regularly. And when you put in 20,000, sometimes it kicks money through back. Then you redeposit that money, ask you, what do you want to redeposit it? And it kicks it back. Then I just conclude the transaction. So sometimes it throws me back some money, and I don't want to stand there, people are standing behind you, and then I just cancel not cancel, just say accept, deposit whatever what was taken, and that's it. And that is the reality. That is not a bribe, or although the proceeds of my cash, I even told you I had even clubs that I got cash, Your Worship. Now, if I decided to put it in my bank account through an ATM because I don't want to go and stand in a queue, that's my choice. So it's not a crime to deposit cash money, but I do not see where the bribe came from.
The club that you owned it in Wavish Bay, isn't it?
Yes, that was in 22. I'm just mentioning that. I'm not saying it came from, this proceeds came from there, but I owned it in Belfast Bay, yes.
Okay, so was it during 2023?
No, it wasn't. I'm just saying,
Okay.
I've always had cash business, and I also told you that I have sold a lot of my equipment. When I scaled down PPL, instead of taking that cash money, because I was liquidating the company, selling all the assets, but that only happened in mid 2024, but I was reducing all the old equipment that was there. I got cash money from Zambia. And I take that
Okay,
money.
just to answer the question, is it now that the state is asking you that it's always a similar amount on each occasion? And what is your answer?
My answer, I explained to the court that sometimes the ATM give money back. So it's not always the same. You'll see sometimes they do take the 20,000 straight as an ATM deposit, but sometimes they 19,600.
Okay.
So that is my answer.
And in fact, on page 41, I want to... Actually, let me be page 40 for now. You see what I'm saying, coincidentally, you just deposit the same amount. Again, on the 2nd of February, which appears on page 40, an amount of 19,600 again was deposited into your account.
Which date?
2 February 2023. You see that?
19,600, yes, but there's
Yes.
also 19,800 if you see that.
Yes, in fact, I'm getting to that because your amounts will fluctuate between 19,600, 19,800.
Okay.
So are you saying at all times from your business you just generate the same amount of money? They just fluctuate?
The ATM, Your Worship, and this is my answer. The ATM allows you only a certain amount of notes that you can deposit. You cannot deposit unless you go inside the bank and stand in the queue. So sometimes the ATM will only allow you a certain amount of notes that is willing to accept. And then you need to do another transaction for another pack of notes. And that is the reality.
So these payments, let me be specific. The ones that are in 19,800, 19,600, what were you selling exactly?
Payments.
Yes, what were you,
Deposits.
yes, the pay deposits, what were they for? Where were you receiving the money from?
Like I said, it's in 2022. I do not know for each and every deposit that I made because I told you I'm selling, I'm in the business of selling to informal markets. The state is disputing that I sell to informal markets. I have proof that I do sell to informal markets. I even have a trailer that is equipped with cold facilities, with hooks that I have. So maybe I have that trailer just for the show, I don't know, but for me, it's a month, I'm making money.
Yes. I will show you that between the period of the 1st of January 2022 to 31 December 2023, in fact, the total amount of money that went through that account, which appears on page 65, is an amount of 11,716,813.19 cents.
That's for 2 years, and let me break it down for you.
It's fine. I just want to...
Can the witness be allowed to answer? Because I'm sure Mr. Inambao will be given a leeway, or should we stop it here?
Just before you proceed, since we're having differing types of statements, although the same, which page is this?
It's the last page of this. I don't know on Mr. Isaacs.
Your Worship, since the state has got it, the 2 years in one, and in the file is the 2 years breakdown. That's why I wanted to break down, because the narrative out there, Your Worship, that the state is wanting to portray the number of 11, saying what they did.
Let me just get where the page, where are
Let
we?
me assist you all. The first total payment that is made up in the 11 is found on 353, that's for the year 1 January 2023 to 31 December 2023. That's 3 million. Then the next one is on page 324. That's 8 million. I understand why the state want to create this 11 million. I assume statements are yearly and not 2 yearly. But those are the two amounts put together will give you for 2 years 11 million.
Yes, Advocate, what is the question?
The question was from 2022. In fact, it's just a year, if I may put it that, or 2 years. From 1 January 2022 to 31 December 2023, 11 million went into that account. But when we check with regard to page 172, which appears on the first bundle, there's an amount of $4,925,400 that went into that account. And again, on 173, the period 1 January 2019 to 31 December 2019, 5 million went into the account. And on page 174, the period 1 January 2020 to 31 December 2020, 4,113,218.12 cents went into that account. And page 175, an amount of 1,116,999.94 cents went into the account. So we are saying, in these other years, you did not make so much money, but during 2022 to 2023, so much money went into your account because of the bribes that you were receiving. And this money that you are saying is from business, was not from business, was from bribes that you were receiving.
I totally disagree, and I disagree. The deposits and the years you've read up to 2021 was already dealt with, because we wanted to show that I didn't join NAMCOR just because I was coming from the streets. However, since 2022, which you have, the prosecution has now put on the record, for 2022 was 8.74, 2023 was 3.11, that's the 11, so it was for 2 years. So therefore, and this is part of the 61 million NAMRA has got and are charging me. So I'm saying if I wanted to hide this because of bribes being paid, I wouldn't have, Your Worship, deposit this money into my bank account. I wouldn't have. Because now I'm liable for the tax, which I was willing, and I declared it also, Your Worship, which I will show. It's just a pity that my evidence in chief has done, but my accountant only came today to say he has got the things. I was looking for him, my lawyer was looking for him. So, to showcase that we have submitted these tax returns, we have declared it to NAMRA, why would I do that if it was bribe money? So I totally disagree with you, Mr. Prosecutor.
Your Worship, I see it's past 1. I still intend on highlighting a few transactions on the bank statement, so I propose we adjourn and then reconvene perhaps at 2 or 2:15.
We may then adjourn for lunch and convene at 2:15. Court is adjourned.
What, guys?